This is probably 85% of the pre-1890 bicycles in Australia under one roof, and now that's taken some finding in 30 years. So it started in a small way. The first few years were fairly low life. I think I was the only bike collector in the world, and I won't say Charlie was my biggest supporter at that time, you know, sort of hauling piles of rust home.
My perspective on the collection is slightly different to Paul's. I probably would not be the one that went out hunting them down and buying them, but I love the bikes. So it's simple technology. I can understand how they work, and they, to me, symbolise, for females, independence and freedom, and always have.
Now, this beautiful bike is an 1886 Rudge rotary tricycle, suitable for women in this sort of costuming, which was the usual thing in those days. And this bike has rack and pinion steering, it's got a sprung saddle, and altogether a delight to ride and much easier than walking.
There are things that are my expertise and things that I need other people's help with. I am not a fitter and turner, but I've got machine tools here that the like of which nobody else has got in the world. There are two machines here which were built in the 1890s, and I am using them to restore 1890s bicycles. Each time I put a bicycle together, it may have come as a frame with just a little bit of running gear, chain and sprockets, and the wheels have collapsed and the spokes are all rotted. When I get on it after 100 years, that is always a rather special experience. This is what the owner of that bicycle 120 years ago, when he purchased the bike and proudly walked out of the shop with it and then got on it, that's the experience. This is a double chain driven bicycle known as a kangaroo or a dwarf safety. It was the hottest bicycle in the world in 1884, but within 3 years, this was regarded as junk.
Late 1800s, all these engineers and lateral thinkers were applying their imagination to bicycle design. So if you could think of it, you could probably find somebody around the corner to make it, and that design might have only lasted for 6 months, maybe a year, before it was superseded by something even more weird and wonderful.
Penny farthings were invented in 1870, but by the 1880s, all these great inventors had moved their ideas to tricycles because they were more flexible, they would carry luggage, they were safer to ride at night. And the omnicycle was one of the great machines. It was one of the more expensive machines and was the first bike with an easy-to-operate 3-speed gear.
People haven't changed. The technology's moved on a little bit, but people haven't changed. They still want to go further, faster, for less effort, looking good. And that's what people in, the late 1800s did.